All right, I'm going to try to get through this video. I lost my voice over the weekend, so bear with me. But I wanted to do a quick recap on last week with CLOV and a little bit about what we have to look forward to. One of the most interesting things I noticed last week is that CLOV is starting to track some of the meme stocks, which could end up being great because we saw some spikes last week that kind of correlated with GME, AMC, and some of the other big names that are squeezing right now or in the beginning stages of a squeeze. I watched multiple stocks a day, and last week when GME started spiking because of that T35, T21 that we talked about in my last video, we saw a lot of other memes spiking as well, including AMC. And then when AMC really broke out, some other stocks really started to jump, which kind of tells me that maybe some of these other shorts are unwinding their positions. And that's why we're starting to see everything else kind of move along with it. And then on Friday, when the short attacks rolled in, they all started to fall kind of, at the same time. So first off, I wanted to pull up some of the, let's see here. We'll go with BlackBerry first. So these are kind of the original, January memes. Over here we got GME. And as you can see, on Tuesday, it really had a big day. It gapped up on Wednesday for another big day, kept rolling into Thursday, and then on Friday, got this big, massive short attack. AMC kind of followed the same pattern, except it kept rolling strong all the way into Friday before it got this same short attack or sell-off, whatever you want to call it. BlackBerry didn't really start gaining momentum till Wednesday, Thursday, but same pattern. Friday got up really high with another sell-off. Nokia didn't really get rolling until Thursday, but we still saw a spike on Friday with the sell-off. Now, some of the other big names from January, I think, was Naked Brands. You'll see the same pattern, more similar to AMC, where it continued to just rise all the way into Friday before it came down. And then another one, I think, was KOSS. Now, for me, I'm only in GameStop between all these stocks, but I've been kind of tracking and following them all because, as you can see, they all kind of have a correlation. Here's KOSS, looks more similar to GameStop in the big Tuesday, the big Thursday, and then it kind of had this big Friday with the sell-off. Now, CLOV, I'll pull up, and I also want to pull up Space, SPCE. Let me get this chart over. So these stocks weren't really part of the original, January squeeze, but you could see CLOV kind of followed that same pattern. Up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even went up even higher on Friday before getting pushed down. Space, same thing. Space actually went up on its own because of some good news that carried over from the weekend where they got their first positive test launch, but it saw the Thursday spike, it saw the Friday spike before the fall. The reason that I think this is significant is because they weren't part of the original January, kind of squeeze mania when everything just went off the hook. But they did have nice run-ups somewhere around that time. Like CLOV went up in December, and then started falling after that. SPCE went up, I think, in January, but then continued into February before falling. Now, during the GME run-up, Chamath, who's a big investor in CLOV and SPCE, was very outspoken about GME. He helped provide momentum. He sent out some tweet about some option plays he got into, and kind of the speculation is that kind of as a punishment for that, some of the same shorts that lost their ass on GME started piling into CLOV and Space and hammering those stocks down. And I believe this is why we saw the price action we did on CLOV last week. As GameStop and more importantly, AMC started spiking because AMC really ran. When AMC kind of busted through that resistance level and started spiking upwards like 34, 35, 36, my speculation is that shorts had to start unwinding their positions, making all the stocks that they were shorted move upwards as well. you know. Other things that kind of I think helped contribute to CLOV moving up last week. It was recently announced that they were being added to the MSCI index, small cap index, which means that any ETFs tracking it would have to start accumulating shares. And then on Thursday, there was some more pretty heavy option activity and call sweeps that would have contributed as well to last week's run up. So where does that leave CLOV? Is it going to squeeze? Everyone wants to know if there's going to be a short squeeze with it. And, you know, I still think that it's going to happen, not to the magnitude as GME. Before I continue, I just want to say, and I've said it many times in some of my other videos, I think GME is the ultimate squeeze play. I don't think we'll ever see anything like it again, and I don't even think it's begun to even start squeezing yet. Um, but I also think that AMC, because of the retail momentum it has, is ultimately going to help CLOV and help GME. Between AMC and GameStop, I think that whichever one goes first, the second one's going to follow. So if AMC continues to just kind of bust through these barriers and keep going, that's going to put pressure on anyone who's short to make them unwind their positions, which is going to help GME and also help CLOV and any of the other highly shorted stocks. And likewise, if GameStop goes first, AMC will probably follow second. Um, I don't have any position in AMC, but I've been hoping that it goes, and I've been watching it unfold because I think it'll benefit everybody. So in regards to CLOV, I think CLOV has the potential to squeeze, but it's going to need a combination of retail momentum, options activity, and some catalysts. Now, just being pulled along with these other big squeeze plays may be a catalyst in itself, as that's going to make the price go up, right? And then maybe as the price goes up, you get some FOMO and some more retail build up, people jumping in late as they see these prices go. We know the short interest is currently 30 to 40% range, which makes it one of the most heavily shorted stocks on the market. We also have the benefit, like I said, of being pulled along with these big squeeze plays. And, hopefully this creates this buyback pressure, which will create some retail traction and get that going. In terms of other catalysts, I know the stock is supposed to get added to the Russell 2000 in June. This may or may not make a difference. Sometimes when ETFs add new stocks to them, they kind of slowly do it over the month. They may have already been buying, and if not, maybe they're starting now and they'll slowly do it, which in that case, it would create more buying volume throughout the month, but it won't really create a ton of buying pressure all at once to help push us past key resistance levels or anything like that. The major catalyst that's on the horizon that could be happening is the whole DOJ and SEC investigations and their potential announcements of their findings. One of the major reasons this stock is so undervalued right now is because of the potential negative news from these investigations. So, if we end up getting positive news coming back, because the negative news is already priced in, that could end up showing us some significant institutional buying, which would likely be enough to kind of force a squeeze in itself when you mix in options activity and retail FOMO and people jumping in. And I keep mentioning options because the other thing that's going to be needed to create pressure for a squeeze is going to be some whale options activity. The good news is we saw some call sweeps starting the last 2 weeks. A lot of buying up of calls for June, July, and even August. This is important because of the buying pressure that these calls will eventually make. As prices start getting passed and hedging occurs, when the price naturally rises, it's going to help give us more upward momentum. Honestly, just watching all these stocks, I think the biggest difference in AMC and GME last week and their price action was the options activity. The charts were pretty identical until they broke their key resistance levels. And once they broke past those levels, you saw GME ran a little, or we could say it had a good run, but AMC ran a lot, and to me, the major difference was the options activity. The AMC chain was so loaded with open interest that, had it passed $40, we probably would have ended up seeing a gamma squeeze. And honestly, I think the reason we saw the late day short attack on all the memes was them trying to suppress AMC more so than anything else. With CLOV, we only have monthly options. So you see like AMC and GME and some of these other ones have weeklies, which gives that potential for the gamma squeeze almost every week if the chain gets loaded up. So that's not necessarily bad that it's monthly. It can also be looked at as a good thing because there's only monthly, expirations on CLOV. We see a higher concentration of calls in June, in July, in August because they're not spread out through all these weeks. So it could end up being good, or even great. But the key is going to be, one, the open interest continuing to build up, and then the stock moving up through natural means, whether it be because of this Russell index or because it's getting pulled along with the meme stocks or anything else to get the stock to move past those points. And that's when we'll really start seeing some movement there. The June options chain is already starting to get loaded up. As you can notice, here's the $8 strike, 20,000, $9 strike, 15,000, $10 strike, 24,000. Those are some pretty decent numbers, and there's still more time for those to continue to grow and kind of hopefully still get some more call sweeps, which is like when a whale comes in and just buys all the calls at a specific strike, at market value. Typically, people will come in and they'll buy, put a limit order and hope that it gets filled. Call sweep is when like a whale comes in and just buys it all up at market. They want to make sure they get those prices. So in terms of plays for me, I'd stick with shares. My last video, I kind of said the same thing. Stick with shares or deeper, options like way down the road. In my last video, I picked up some 2022s and some 2023s, and I've actually continued to keep adding to those positions. The IV is still low right now, which I think makes those affordable, but I wouldn't jump into anything short term. I wouldn't get into any June or July expirations because this could take longer, to gain momentum. If you want to ensure you're in CLOV when this pops, and it's going to pop eventually, you want something that's not going to expire, like shares, right? Or like those longer out 2022s, 2023s, because, that'll still have you in the game when it happens. The price is attractive enough as it is. It's trading under 8 still right now. And, it really seems like a steal, especially because we got some squeeze potential. We see the stocks moving with some of these other big players, and we're trading at still 50% of the all-time high. So there's a lot of room for this thing to double and move even further up. In terms of the current price action, on the daily chart last week, we broke over some key levels, key resistance levels. We got a nice crossover on the MACD. These are all bullish signals. I think ultimately we want to see the RSI pick up a little bit. I think the $8 price is going to be a big resistance level. We've been seeing some resistance the last couple of days there. And one of the biggest reasons for that, and I'll just pull this up one more time. If you remember last month, this was actually a $7.50 strike price, and that's where we were seeing a lot of that resistance at, was getting past that mark. And now it's an $8 strike. So because it's an $8 strike, we're likely going to see more resistance at $8. Now, if we blow past that, then same thing. We'll see resistance at 9. We'll see resistance at 10, especially the closer we get to that June 18th expiration date. This thing could end up blowing up quick. If GME and AMC, keep up this momentum they're on, we might see legitimate squeezes this week or next week in those two stocks. And if we're getting pulled along with it, that'll push us into that $8, $9, $10, $11 range, as the options start to take over and we start to get retail buy-in. And so this thing could move quicker. Selfishly, I'd rather have CLOV be a little delayed so I could roll some of my GME gains into it, but I'm not going to be mad if this thing takes off either. Or this could be something where we kind of wait and see the SEC DOJ announcements or even next earnings, by the time this thing really starts moving, which is why I said shares or longer out options. Either way, I feel really strongly about CLOV's potential to double up from where it's at right now. don't get discouraged if this doesn't blow up when the other memes do. This wasn't originally a meme stock. It kind of got drug into it, which is good because that'll end up giving that retail momentum if it gets that meme status back, to help really push off and kickstart a short squeeze. But I think, patience is the key. CLOV is going to have its day sooner or later. Don't get too, don't get too set on if all these other ones start blowing up and then you feel like you're missing the boat, because I think CLOV is still going to happen. It's just a matter of, one, we need to be closer to those options expiration dates. And I think that a lot of people are heavily invested already in GameStop and AMC. I know, like I said before, I'm not in AMC, but I'm heavily invested in the GameStop. So for me, I'm waiting for my GameStop play to pan out before I move my money over. I have a smaller position in CLOV right now that I've been slowly building on, but I'm not going to move a ton of money over till GameStop's done. And I think a lot of people are in the same boat. I think a lot of people are really heavily invested in AMC, or maybe even in both, and that's why we're not seeing all the retail interest right now, but it's going to come. Okay, so anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry about my voice. Hopefully it'll be better by the time I make another one, and have a great day.